Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's lunchtime lecture as part of the Stories About Sustainability series this autumn. The series invites architects from around the world to look back to the materiality and craft of the past and see how it can inform more sustainable building practices now and in the future. I'm Manisha Verghese, and I'm the head of public engagement at the AA, and I'm delighted to introduce today's speaker, Takaharu Tezuka, who co-founded Tezuka Architects with Yui Tezuka in 1994. The practice set out not just to design architecture, but to change people's lives and societies for the better through the means of architecture. With that in mind, today he will talk about the Asahi Kindergarten that was designed and reconstructed on a highland area using the huge trees that were killed by the saltwater of the 2011 tsunami, exactly 400 years after they were planted in 1611. The aim of the project was to express that the tree was not only the building material used to construct the school, but was also home to the spirit of the townspeople. His presentation will be followed by a conversation with Kate Davies, Head of Media Studies and co-director of the Design and Make program at the AA's Forest campus in Hooke Park, to consider the importance of building with wood and the benefits of working with the forest. Before I hand over to Takaharu, a few logistics. Following Takaharu's talk and Kate's response, we'll open the conversation up for a wider discussion. So please feel free to post your questions in the chat at any point, and we can either ask those on your behalf, or if you'd like to ask the question yourself, just use the raise hand function at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and I can ask you to unmute yourself. Also, since we decided to hold this series online, both in the name of sustainability and to promote global participation, if you feel comfortable to do so, please turn your camera on during the discussion, so at least we can feel like we're in the same space. So I think that's it from me. So for now, I'll hand over to Takaharu, who was telling me earlier how he used to visit the AA as a student. So welcome back to the AA.
Okay, nice to meet you, everybody. And that time, I saw Peter Cook, Ron Heron, and Shin Egashira. He's still there, right? I think, yeah?
Yes.
And it's a long time ago. It was 1989 I started, okay? And my wife moved to Bartlett because Ron Heron moved. But still, I feel AA school is a home for many students for Japanese architects. Okay, today, I'm not going to talk about just only one project. I'll show a few projects. And at the beginning, I want to show you a video. It takes about maybe 10 to 12 minutes and skip some contents. But I want you to be patient because it's a very important part of my lecture. Okay. I hope, hold on, just I think you know us, right? Red and blue all the time. And we're a couple. And I'm always in blue. My wife is red, and it's my family. Okay. And you know this project. I think I have lectured about this project a few times in your school. So I skip this, and also you can find the many YouTubes about this project I made a lecture about. Now, just today, I want to talk about this project, which was introduced with the video just you saw. And always the video is on demand, so you can see whenever you want. And this is a very deep Himalayan mountain. As you saw in the movie, it was started by a guy who was born in a toilet. And he was sent to monastery. And after that, he studied a lot. Amazingly, he was in Harvard making lecture when he was grown up. So he started from toilet, and he went to the best school in the world. Okay, and then he started orphanage. He wanted something back to the community. And he started from only few children, picking up one by one. And now he has 105 children. And he wanted us to help them. Because these buildings were built, early days with quite less money. And the foundation is not good anymore. So you have to build this. And if they don't have enough building, they have to give up some children. So the building is life. I can tell you, I don't need to know. So hold on. Maybe I should stop the sound now. Noisy. Okay. So you can see how deep it is. It's in Himalayan mountain. Very isolated. But this is where these people live. And you can see the marking between China and India. This is where they fight all the time. And they build this community. And I made a kind of scheme. But 2 years ago, they came to us and they need a building, but they without budget. So I told them, we don't have enough money to help you, but I can offer you computer graphics and the plan so that you can raise money, so you can take this allowance. So we made some drawings and modeling to them. And amazingly, in 2 years, they came back. And I got money and actually introduced UNICEF and UNESCO, TED Talk, some people. And also he got the movie to talk about his project, which you saw that, and that the movie got Emmy Prize. So he said, we got the money, so I want you to help it. So, and then I need to talk about Srito. And this is a community, okay? And very, very deep in the mountain. And this is a kind of house they used to live. And the life has been changed quite a lot last 50 years. There was no homeless people. There's no orphanage in the past. When they got a new bride, new couple, they used to build a house for the couple, and they used to make stepped field so they can grow enough things to eat. So everybody is some kind of collaborating each other. So no money was going out. And then war started, okay? And they started building a road. So if they work for the road, they can get money. And also, another problem happened. In these days, Indian government, and not only the government, all government worried about deforestation. So now it's forbidden to chop any tree. But they never had a problem with the tree because they were cutting tree just for their houses, but now they are not allowed to. So what's happening is that, they get money for the road construction, which is needed for the war between China and India. And of course, for themselves. And then now we can see that this is a house they used to have. And then roof houses. And now you can see the tin roof and the concrete structure. So, instead to help each other, they have to, as a construction company in the city, far away, more than a few hundred kilometers away, to build a concrete structure, okay? So money doesn't stay. So they have to work more on road construction. So they can't help each other. So what I'm saying is that, somehow, architecture is a part of the poverty. And also, I'll say deforestation, because, it's forbidden to cut the trees. They can't build their own house. Okay, they go to city, and they need to bring more cars and concrete. And then to build these things, they are chopping trees. So it's a kind of a paradox. Our government was trying to protect trees, and in reality, they're losing the trees. And I am showing kind of scroll showing a Buddha. The school they built became the best school, best high school in this region. The monk didn't want to make that orphan to be poor or miserly. They want them to prove, you can be, maybe you were born in the worst condition, but it will be top of the world. And the 10 best high school students of that region, and actually got about 9 from this school. So 90% of the best school students, the high school students are from this orphanage. It's amazingly. And again, 90% of the students go to university from this orphanage. It's amazing. He achieved that level within 17 years. And then he wanted and share the idea of Buddhism. And somehow he used this technique, Buddhism, to produce best students, best high school students. And this is a diagram he was giving me. There are 3 levels of education. First of all, I put seed on the brain of a child. And then the seed may be wrong, just like saying, why the sky is green? The sky is not green, but they give some kind of question. And then they have to digest. And in the class, they are not allowed to take note. They are not, the teacher wasn't using a blackboard, just they talk. And then students study by themselves. It's a second level, digestion. First is seed. Second is growth. They need to digest the seed or they make it nutrition. And they say, okay, start from 1 and discuss with 2, discuss with 3, and 7. So all those odd numbers. And eventually, they share. So third level is sharing. Okay. So instead of teaching the knowledge, and then they want to bring up wisdom so they can share. So 3 levels: teaching as a seed, and studying as a digestion, and then third is wisdom to share. And then we started making drawing. As I said, we don't want to use concrete anymore, because if we build concrete building, the money goes away from the village again, and they can't share what they worked for. So then they said, no, we can still make mud wall and some stones. I said, okay, and maybe we can get some timbers with special permission. And also, we are trying to get idea of a chakra talk, chakra lecture. It was circle surrounded by 8 trees. So that is how we started making image. And at the bottom, we sketch like this. So you sit around. Actually, I went this community just only a week ago. And it was taking 4 days to get there from Tokyo, and 4 days to come back. And really difficult road to take. And there's some landslide. So just 1 day before I passed, and the same I found the road is possible. And just after we left, another landslide. So we had to take a really long way to come back. So that's the place. And actually, I don't have so much thing to show you about architecture, but I want to tell you the story about this because it's just so fantastic. You know, when we make something like this kind of community, you can save life and forest. If we do this, maybe I can save 30 children. If we didn't act, maybe 30 children died. Maybe, I don't know. But they really need it. And if we died, we didn't make any drawing or we didn't make any proposal, maybe poverty would continue. Now I think we can stop it, okay? And they welcomed, and they became the first, foreigner going in deep into that place, across the Chinese boundary. For these tribe called the Monpa, there is no meaning as a country, because boundary beyond the rich are nothing different from Saturn or Mars. They know only their own valley, and they used to live happily. There's no poverty. There's no homeless. It started. So we have to put things back. Maybe they don't have money, but I went there. I stayed there. And I'm not sure if we Japanese or British are happier than them. So I show you what's going to happen maybe a year later. And maybe a few months later, I'm going to have a talk with Dalai Lama, Pope of Buddhism. Okay, this is the first project I was going to talk to. Okay, next one. Okay, this is forest of sky. This is in Okinawa. As you can see, there is no tree. In Okinawa, there used to be a deep jungle, and there's a terrible war, 1940s, World War II. And of course, Okinawa has nothing to do with this war, but suddenly, American army came. Of course, that's a very important strategic point. And both fought, and they burned all the forest. So there's no forest. And this huge land became waste disposal. And after that, American tree planted, and all ecosystem were gone. And there used to be beautiful timber structures, timber architectures, all gone. Then, and I was asked to make a hospital for the lady suffering, infertility problem. I said, and then I worked with a doctor specialized on bacterial balance, because he thinks bacterial balance is important. Inside of our body, we have more than we have a lot of bacteria in a small life forms, and the number is far more than our body cell, possibly 10 times. And usually you have some more bioform outside the body. It was supposed to be balanced. And in natural field, in the forest, all these are balanced. But when you go into sterilized environment, like hospital, and the bacteria inside our body start mutiny, and also our immune system fails. And then first thing get killed is the embryo. So they wanted to make whole ecosystem to make pregnant to get life possible. To be pregnant, they think it's very important to have an ecosystem back. So we put trees back, indigenous tree, and put bungalow and bringing back space like all the Okinawa houses. And instead of making internal corridor, this hospital got external spaces like this. So it was quite unusual as hospital, like it's a resort, but it's paid by national health, almost 90%. You need to pay something like 2,000, I don't know, 20 pounds per night, only 20 pounds. Okay, and then we got latest technology as well. So we got the both. My point is, don't deny technology. Same time, bringing back forest is very important part of our life because we are being a part of our whole existence. So if you don't have a good ecosystem, we can't procreate. Okay, so sterilization may not be good for us. Okay, so sterilization is killing us. Okay, next one. Actually, this is what your teacher promised. Okay, this is tsunami. You saw, no? This tsunami is 20 meters tall. And there was a lady holding microphone to the death, to the end, until tsunami comes. She was telling, you have to leave the town, and she died. She killed herself. And she became a hero. Heroine, I would say. And then there's another hero in town, a monk. There used to be a promenade like this. All these trees are about 400 years old. He said, he used to say, even before the earthquake, if big earthquake comes, you have to come to my temple. Because if you find the old temple has been there long time before tsunami. So if you go there, your life will be saved. So, and a few kilometers from coastline, there's stairs like this. This is how far tsunami went up, about 20 meters from sea level. And the local escaped. He could escape. He survived. And this is how the tree was looking like after tsunami. And the tree looks alive? No, because the ground was salted. And the salt sucks out all the water. So this tree died. And right after the earthquake and the tsunami, and I got the call from UNICEF. They want me to design a temporary building for kindergarten. So I went there, but I thought it's kind of waste to build a temporary structure because the budget they were talking about temporary structure was almost equivalent to build a permanent structure. So I told them, what's the reason why you are not building permanent? They said, we had to build things quickly and there's no material around. So I want to build a temporary structure. I said, it's wrong to waste money. Look at this. There's a huge amount of material in front, but they didn't see these trees as a material. I said, it's possible. And these trees are 400 years old. You can see the scale of it, huge trees. and chopped it off. Each of these about 40 meters tall. And this is a diameter. The trees, it's about 2 meters. And of course, there's some defect. Many of these are defective. And we made a huge timber structure out of this huge trunk. No? And then this is a hole created by woodpecker. Very heavy timber column. Each column is about 2,000 kilograms. Huge. It is 600 by 600 square. And we used, old joinery. Because in Japan, there are many timber temples exceeding 1,200 years. Some of them known to be 1,300 years. That there are so many wisdoms, you have to drill a hole in the middle, because if you don't drill a hole, the column breaks like a pineapple, because trunk dries from outside, inside stays at wet, and the outside shrink and it breaks. But if you drill the hole in the middle, it dries from inside out, stays perfect. And you have to see the direction of the circles, tree, lines in sentiment. And also, we didn't want to waste any part of the tree. So as you get taller, as you get higher, you get smaller members. All these are joineries, and we're using wedges. And then we put this, and it's a back. So this column is not just a column. Telling the children in 2411, exactly 400 years from now, was 2411. Next tsunami will come sooner or later. And I was born, I was planted 1611, right after the two last before tsunami. Tsunami in 1611, and then I was grown tall, 400 years old, and exactly 400 years from that tsunami. Next tsunami came, that 2011, and I was killed. But I became the column, and I was waiting for you to come. Now it's 2411. Tsunami will come, and you have to come to me. This is a highland. Your life will be saved. That is my message. So it's how the tree promenade is looking like. So now we are planting trees. And then I go back to this place, 2411, and I'm going to build another kindergarten. So then I'll get published on Architecture Review and the DOMS again. Then I want to look at the project. Show you a movie. This is looking a hill, but actually around there's a forest. All forest is gone. And this is the only thing left from the mountain. The tree around were utilized by famous architect called something Kuma. he made use of it. But we kept the hill as memory. So all these were built, all these around were built after tsunami. They're in the timber. So, this architecture is not just it's not just a design. It's about the memory and the message for the future. And so I think I'm running out of time, but I'm going to show you some projects we did with timbers. Okay, this is a joinery. And this, I think some of you might have seen it. It's as a front cover or architecture review. Maybe you don't have a magazine printed more. Now these days, all website. Okay, this is a front cover. We have been using this kind of joineries a long time because I think use of timber helps forest. Of course, it's wrong to burn it. We can cut it, but if we utilize it, we can plant it again, because we have to coexist with the forest. We can't live without the forest. It's like a field. Okay, this is one of the projects. I wish I have time to explain. Maybe next year I go to London, explain about more projects. Okay. And this is another kindergarten with timber. And this was selected as the best school building in the World Architecture Festival. It's looking like this, timber structure. This time showing. And I see you know this project, the kindergarten. We are trying to keep the tree on the middle of the building because we didn't want to cut it. But if you cut the root, it dies. The building is floating. So, this is another example. Coexistence between tree and the human. It's not the forest, but always you can be a part of nature. If you are, a part of nature, and you start knowing what it is, and also they learn how the importance of these trees. Okay. Next time, I can explain this project, but today it's not important. And I wrote these kind of issues for the paper for United Nations, how we can coexist with nature. I think it's enough, I think I'm running out of time, so I'm showing the slides. And you can see some might book those selection in Harvard, longer version, but these kindergarten. And this is a building built around the tree. Actually, its thing is called the Ring and the Tree. It's named by Peter Cook. Actually, he's coming to my house end of this year. So this is a coexistence of the building and the tree. And again, this building is floating around the tree. I think time is running out, so maybe I should show you something else. I have so many projects. We have completed 260 projects, but there's one more thing I really want to show you. This is very important. Okay. This is also got the best prize for religious building in World Architecture Festival, the best prize. And it was about the forest, but not the real forest. It's Eden. It's a church. College chapel, actually. And I drew a drawing, and actually it's actually painting, I would say. I used a 6mm dot to draw 56-meter wide wall, one by one. So it's not the computer-aided image. It's 100% from my imagination. It's a forest exists only in my brain. It was taking 6 months to draw. And then I got the machine, cut it out. And behind the layers of thick glass, and then you got the panel perforated the machine. So I had to use the machine to cut the hole, but all these patterns are for my brain and my hand. See, and the great thing about light is that wherever you go, light follows. If you're in the church, you have to go to the light, but here, light follows you. It's like in the forest. This is another interesting understanding of forest. The story is that the story is from this university. The university says 150 years ago, a pastor came to this country, Japan, and he put seed, and it became tree, and the tree became forest. The forest is this school. It's Eden. But, and we are giving them fruits of wisdom as Adam and Eve, and they have to leave the school when they're grown up. So it's story, same story as Adam and Eve. There is the light. So this is another understanding. So it's artificial, from the image first. And the light gets dispersed further down. So it's enough for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We're going to clap this in. Takaharu, I mean, amazing. I've got so many things to ask you and so many things to talk about. I have a room full of design and make students down here at Hooke Park, so I'm going to do a bit of a swivel around and show you these guys. So we're a bit hybrid at our end, and they will be throwing some questions, I'm sure, at us.
Are you in A school?
I'm down at Hooke Park. I'm sorry for the backlighting. I was trying to give everyone a glimpse of the forest.
Really?
We're down at Hooke Park near Dorset.
Dorset.
Yeah, so the AA has a woodland campus.
Really?
Down in the south of England. We have our own forest. Yeah, and I think that this is why I think we've been paired. We have a working woodland down at Hooke Park, and a design and make master's program, which are the guys in the room who look to build prototype architecture from the trees from our own woodland.
Fantastic. Good.
I think, maybe I'd like to make a couple of comments and maybe throw those to you as questions as well before we open it out. One thing that comes across like incredibly strongly to me in the way that you talk about your work is the storytelling. And, you know, from the very first film, I'm interested in how that movie so powerfully frames the kind of context for the project in a way that don't necessarily always do, I think, as architects. And I wondered if you could talk a little bit about the role of architect as storyteller and how that works within your work specifically.
Okay. For me, actually, architecture is only one an aspect of my life. You know, we design architecture because I want to save life. We design architecture because, I want to help patients. Okay. We design architecture because I want to help refugees. Okay. And it's a very natural thing to do. And also I want to raise children. And then so we design architecture. That is a kind of, reason I want to be architect. If you are designing just only shape and other things, and only your ego will drive your design, that is the last thing I want. Of course, I want, originality. We don't design just the square buildings, okay? We're not commercial architects. Actually, I am a commercial architect too. Now we design highlights too. But I want to see what I can leave for next generation. Our life is too short, okay? So if we don't act quickly, we can't leave anything behind. And architecture is not a fashion. And if you find some kind of style from magazine, it will be obsolete sooner or later. But if you design lives, that will last forever. I think so.
Yeah, I think that's a really beautiful way of putting it. It seems to me the kind of finding of a story, a place that can frame maybe an agenda around sustainability for a future generation is an incredibly important part of what we all do as architects. And the forest also, for me, the forest is amazing at engaging very directly with a long-term conversation because it's timescales. You bring that through in your talk beautifully about this idea of 24/11. It enables us to, it's a beautiful way, a space that enables us to frame a longer term conversation beyond what have become increasing cycles of short-term thinking. And probably in a world where, which is shaped increasingly by a personal narrative of individuality, a personal narrative. I wondered if that's, it seems that it makes sense that you do a lot of work whose clients are children. And the affinity that children have with stories, that they're the ability to engage as humans with almost no story yet, and the ability to comprehend, stories of multi dimensions. I find that really powerful. Is that something that you seek out? You talked about helping people in general, but in terms of an affinity for projects that include children as part of their client base, is that something that you seek out actively?
Actually, this time I was focusing on to deforestation. So I was showing just only a small number of projects. And as I said, I have done more than 260 projects. But I have some projects for, elderlies too. Mm-hmm. There's a city called Kitakyushu. Kitakyushu was known to be one of the most brutal Yakuza city. Yakuza is a mafia, worst kind. They were killing people in town. And then somehow city fought against them, and they managed to destroy the headquarters. And then nobody wanted to touch the ground because there are some still Yakuza around. But then there's a very brave pastor, he wanted change. And he called me, do you want to work with me? And they said, we went there. And I found out even the people in Yakuza want to change. And we found out the reason why, there are so many Yakuza. Because once they get jailed, they have no place to go. And then go back to Yakuza. And also, their children, cannot go to good school because they can't get a good education. They can't go to after school because it's forbidden to make any contract with Yakuza. So, lack of education and also lack of working place for elderly, all these. So we are trying to make a kind of new community or school for everybody, including 50 or 60 years old, 70 years old. Still, they start studying about high school, so they can get a certificate. And also, helpless people like 80, they can get home. And we got some funding for the project from government, and we built it. So it's a kind of new. It's kind of city. It's called the Town for Hope in Japanese, Kibou no Machi. So we do many kinds, even elderly, So, but I think talking about the children is the easiest way to talk about the future, because they live long. They live after my life.
Mm-hmm. It's an imperative that if you're designing for children to talk about the future.
But also, just I want to tell you, some people says, we need to save the forest for this planet. I think it's a kind of lie, because if you look at Chernobyl, trees are back, wolves back. So even a nuclear power plant explodes, or any world happens, this nature will prevail. So we need this nature for us. Because when nature go away, we die. So we need to think how we can coexist. It's not about morality. It's about our life. Fatal problem. That is what everybody needs to know.
Yes, I totally agree. I'd like to open up to this room here. Anyone would like to ask a question, that'd be great. Or online. I don't think we have any questions online. Do we have any hands up, Maniji?
Not yet, but hopefully soon.
Go on, guys. Throw a question. While they're thinking.
Hand up.
We've got a William with a hand up. Go on then, William.
Okay. Ready?
Hi. Sorry. I was just turning on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. No, I was just, so I'm familiar with a few of your talks, and I was most intrigued by the question of, you often state that having a degree of danger, and speaking of children time of kind of where it seems like the kind of ecological crises are a global conversation. Okay. And I was wondering how you design with a degree of or how important designing with a degree of danger is to your projects, or how, is it contextual? Do you like find the irregularities on the site, or is it something that you try to incorporate in your design process?
You should know that your life is going to be, continuation of many risks. At this moment, you are protected by your parents or somebody else, and it won't last long. And, who knows what happens, what come to England sooner or later, because nobody expected the war is happening in Ukraine. No, and in India, this war happens, and not only that, even you walk into the forest, there's some danger, So you need to learn how you live, how you can survive in different occasions. Otherwise, you'll be spoiled. And while you are having a very comfortable life, maybe you are hurting somebody. It's very important. Okay. For example, and if you are trying to keep you warm all the time, maybe you are using so much energy, and then you are creating carbon dioxide, and then maybe some bridge get washed down by the flooding. Okay, this thing happens. So my point is, it's very important to live with nature as it is, and that is the best way, to save this world. And always living with nature comes with kind of risk, because nature is not built for us. Even quite well-trained soldier in Green Beret or some of the M16 James Bond, that they can't eat tree leaf. Monkey is stronger. So we are very, very weak. So, always we need to train ourselves. But at the same time, that kind of inconvenience will give you benefit. It's fun. And actually, and the fun always comes with risk. Not only just extreme sports. In summer, you go to beach. Beach is very hot on sand. In winter, you go for skiing. Skiing is minus 20 degrees. So, always our life is seas of risk, and we enjoy risk. And we need to know what kind of creature we are. You watch James Bond movie, because you like danger. You should know yourself. Do you like James Bond, William? Good?
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, occasionally.
Okay, it's good. That's us.
Well, anyways, thank you for your talk, because it was really inspirational, especially the church last project was especially intriguing.
That kind of artwork was kind of taboo, prohibited in modern architecture a long time. But I'm trying to state now, just we should be back as artists, not the same as architect. And all these artwork was disconnected from our profession. I think should be one existing. So I think you should come to Japan. I'll show you the project. You know what it is.
There's an invite.
Yes, you should come.
Yeah, sorry, it would be a great pleasure. Yeah, eventually.
Thanks, William. We've got is it Jean or Jean?
Hello. Thank you so much for your incredible wisdom and inspiration. It's incarnated in your astounding practice. But you talked about a lot. You mentioned Peter Cook, and you mentioned that you came from the AA. And I just wonder, I'm thinking of Tashi the monk and his conversations with you about the seed, the digestion, and the wisdom. And I just wonder where the seed was planted for the wisdom that you now have and are sharing. Was it the AA? At what point in your story did the seed, this extraordinary seed, get planted? And was it compatible with what you learned at the AA?
No, I didn't learn at AA. Actually, my wife, my partner learned at AA. But I can tell you what Peter Cook used to talk to us. He used to say, observation is much more important than analysis. I think he was, and also he has been always a great teacher. These days we try to analyze everything, but we forgot to observe. For example, if you ask somebody to tell the reason why that a cup of soup is tasty, maybe maybe scientist, we boil it and then try to see the ingredients, how much protein in it, how many amino acids, all these kinds of things. But still they can't get the answer. But already, or maybe Peter Cook will give you a good answer. Outside is very cold. You came back into warm room and nice table. And I know what you like. That is what the soup is tasty. That's the truth. So instead of going into the detail, it's very important to stand back. That is a seed. He was giving us a long time ago, and now it's growing a tree, and in our mind. And I think I'm doing the same thing to my students in my university. I've been professor already 26 years, and I'm becoming 58 years old now, and I think your teachers are also doing the same thing. When you, I was talking about three levels, seed and digestion and sharing. Okay. And seed doesn't need to be right. So don't be what teachers are saying right. You doubt it all the time. And then you'll find yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. We've got a question in the room, actually. Speak nice and loud, Nick, and if you can't hear, I'll reiterate it.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me all right? Is this loud enough?
Yes. Awesome. You are big enough.
Sure. So we're studying some CNC and some robotics in relation to timber structures, right? Which means we're also looking at traditional forms of joinery. And I'm wondering if you could talk a bit about how you choose the content and how it relates to the context of your the buildings. So your client has like a kindergarten. How did you choose to use timber in that way? Whether you're using something from the future or something from the past, how do you decide?
Okay. First of all, you need to learn the how can I say character. You need to learn how to read the character of timber, because timber you can see which way timber bent and how deep the timber dries, and that kind of wisdom has been lost, maybe in the United Kingdom, and it has been lost in Japan too. But some good computer knows. Good thing about Japan is that we still have very old construction companies. The oldest construction company is 1,400 years old. They have been doing maintenance of same building, 1,400 years. So they know how timber moves, okay? But same time, you can't get the precision of timber this clear cut of joinery by hand anymore because it's too complicated. Okay. So we use, of course, 3D modeling, and we get CNC machine to make a joinery extreme precision. And actually, you don't need to study about it because all these technologies are there. You can make any kind of shape you want. Okay, but it's very important to know what timbers are. Of course, if you use chemical plastic, you can stabilize the timber as you like. But you should know that it's not timber anymore. Just like it become like a panel inside of Toyota car, lining the Toyota car. It doesn't bend, it doesn't crack, but it's not timber anymore. And then it's better to use steel. It's more interesting. Okay, so if you architect, you need to know both past and the future. Okay, and then you get the answer. Okay, is it good enough for you? Good.
Yeah. We've got another one here. If that was.
Hold on, just a moment. Somebody is. Okay, Steve, go. Okay, let's go. Okay. Okay. I have time. We can make one question.
One more, yeah. It was for the beginning of the kindergarten with the monk. I think it was written in one of the drawings, something about the conventional, and if we go more conventional, we lost more. I don't know if you can explain or talk about a little bit more about that. This is really interesting to just have a balance. The
okay. In the local construction, used to be done by hand, 100% by hand, because there is no, truck, there is no machine. So they used to use soil and slate, flat stones to make foundation. Okay, and it was going up until maybe 3 or 4 meters to make the first floor. And then above there, they used to make a timber structure. And they were not using a big timber. And all timber was just like this diameter, very small. But they knew how to span the roof with these structures. So you can see, very primitive brackets, other things. So, government was really worried about deforestation by the building of houses. But I don't think it happens, no? That is the things I learned. And actually, by bringing cars from city, making a huge road, they are cutting far more trees. They're building small houses for them. And that is what we're trying to do. But unfortunately, we are not allowed to cut any tree from that region. Okay. Maybe that is something to do with the war. No? So we need to bring some timbers from South India. But soil will be local, lots of soil. Okay. And so it's a kind of earth wall. As I think you know the technique. You can get many people. If you go to construction site, you'll be surprised. To build 100 square meter of a house, you get something like 50 people on the site. I don't know what they're doing. Some of these are using mobile phone. Some of these are using, eating something. And also, also if they don't have money, all of them got the mobile phone. That is an amazing thing. They're spending all the money for these kinds of things, but they don't have enough things to eat. It's really awful.
There's a question in the chat.
Yes. Have you got time for a question from the chat, Takaharu?
Yeah, Okay, I have time. But,
the question is, you mentioned Japan's history of timber construction.
yes.
Question from Angus Stanley. My question is whether the timber being used in both traditional and contemporary projects is being grown in Japan, and are there large reforestation projects there?
The thing is, you should know that 80% of Japan has been covered by trees. It's amazing. 150 years ago, somehow, Japanese government managed to plant trees. And there are an amazing number of trees, amount of trees. But the problem is that, it's all mountain. It's very hard to take the trunks out. So the problem is it's cheaper to get timbers from United States or Scandinavian countries. But that is creating problem because, artificial forest need maintenance. If you don't take some trees out and the distance between trees get too close, and then start making landslide. So, man-made forest need maintenance just like a vegetable field. It's not 100% natural forest. So hopefully, we learn how to take the trees out from these forests. And actually, they're good examples. There's a shrine called Ise Shrine. I think you know that they rebuild Ise Shrine every 20 years. They have been doing that 1,400 or 600 years. And there's a mountain behind. And they chop the trees older than 400 years. So youngest tree they can use 400 years. So it's a complete ecosystem was made for that shrine. But still we need time to learn how to do it. Because these days nobody wants to go into the mountain. It's easier to pay money to Canada or United States or Scandinavian countries to get some timbers. But I don't think it's a good thing to do.
And I have a follow-up question to that. Actually, we have a question in the chat first from Joaquin, who's actually here somewhere. He's a designer mate, but he's not in this room, so he's somewhere floating. Have you ever denied a commission or project? And if you did, why did you refuse it?
No, actually, no. No, I didn't deny the project, but because I complained, I get fired. That's the truth. Always I'm trying to be friendly to everybody, but it doesn't work out. So you should know that being architect is quite harsh life. Okay, but it's very important to keep your philosophy. If you give up your hope, if you start selling your soul, there's no way to be back. So that's the only one thing, we are trying to keep in your mind. So we don't do anything bad for society. We don't do, any bad for the nature, So, we don't choose a project, but we keep philosophy and we get fired. That's what happened.
It's one way of selecting projects.
It's good, yeah, like it.
I don't know if we have any other questions online. Just trying to scan for hands. No, if there aren't any, I had one more question, and maybe this is actually, I think this is what you were talking about, girl. You, on your notes, on your notebook that we were reading, it talked about, you'd written a note, the blessings of inconvenience.
Mm.
And I wondered if you could just say a couple of things about the blessings of inconvenience, as opposed to...
Yeah. It's quite simple, For example, you have lemonade outside a cafe, okay? and in the hot weather, you could sit inside with the air conditioning, but if you prefer to sit outside, that's a blessing. It's a kind of comfort you get in hot weather. Because you are being outside, you can taste your lemonade better. That is human being. So if you keep thinking of the convenience, you lose a juice of your life. Always fun or a great thing is coming with a kind of inconvenience. You go for camping, right? But always camping is inconvenient. A condensation, a tent, and you have to go outside the toilet. Why do you do that? Because we like inconvenience. And you go to, outside of London, yeah? And I think UA school is much more convenient. There is no tube or there is no convenience store around your house, around the building. But still you go there because you like inconvenience.
I think it's more relevant to us down here than you could imagine, probably. I think probably, unless there are any other questions from the floor here or from the virtual floor, I'll just say thank you very, very much. And it's been.
I have a question. Do I get a chance to go to talk to AA again? I have done 3 times in the past, but because of COVID-19, I haven't gotten the chance. So I hope I have a chance.
Yeah, you should definitely come visit us, and you should come to the forest in Hooke Park.
We would love.
That I go to Europe, quite often. Actually, from August, I went to Europe already 3 times, but I didn't reach London. I went to Italy and Croatia and France, truth, but not London. So maybe I can extend my leg little. Okay.
Yes.
I hope to see you. Okay.
Yes, please.
And we extend a heartfelt invitation to the forest to come and talk to us in person.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Please say hello to Peter.
Well,
maybe you might know him.
Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both so much for the conversation, and also sorry that it got so late for you, Takaharu, but thank you for being here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.